Juanita from Pennies to Dollars. Welcome back to my channel, and if you're new, thank you for stopping by, and I hope that you will stay and join us. Today we are going to talk about making the most of our money. One of my first tips, of course, is to grow your own vegetables inside if it's winter and outside if it's summer. The only problem I have with that is this. For some reason, this cat thinks that it is really great to drink the water out of our celery. He loves celery water. He won't even drink his own water anymore. He drinks the water out of my celery like 3 times a day. So that's the only problem that I have. It's like a lemon in the water, I guess. He thinks it tastes really good. This is Yogi, by the way. The second tip that I have is to get creative with things we've already purchased, things we already have. And I am not a creative person, but I have creative problem solving skills, I guess. And so I've been able to come up with some things to do with other things we already have to replace things that we would normally buy. For instance, do you ever have these offered to you when you buy something in the store? A lot of people will say, no, I don't want them, and they take them off of your clothes. But these can be used for so many things. You can pop the ends off and make chip clips. I like to use them on the tops of 25-pound bags of oats or flour that we buy. If we don't have time to like pressure seal it in a bag, we use one of these as a giant chip clip, and we like to use them to, of course, to hang skirts and to hang things to dry that has a seam that maybe like tries to roll. And so I use these to dry it straight. Someone told me that they even use it to figure eight their Christmas lights on to store their Christmas lights. So many storage and uses for things like this that we already have in our house. I also use my old ice chests that don't keep things cold. I had a bunch of old ones in the garage. Some of them belong to my parents that I got handed down to when they passed away. They don't keep anything cold. And I needed some storage boxes to put some things in, and I thought, that's a storage box. It's not called a storage box, it's called an ice chest, but it clearly doesn't keep ice from melting. So why not just use what I already have? So I had multiple different sizes, styles of ice chests from over the years, and I'm using those as my storage containers, so I didn't have to buy any. I don't know why I didn't think of that sooner. Huge money saver there. Storage boxes and ways to organize things are a multi-million-dollar industry. And many times we have stuff like that already in our homes. We just call it something else. For instance, since I have an old house with hardly any closet space, I put my seasonal clothes in my suitcase and then I switch them out when it's the next season. Suitcases are great storage areas to do things like that in between seasons, but we don't think about storing things in containers that we already have. I also have this big frame. It was a mirror that was broken out of it that went to my daughter's dresser, and when we moved her, we busted the mirror. So I took it apart, and let me show you what I did with this. I told you in a prior video that we were going to take some chalkboard paint and make it into a chalkboard so that we could keep track of what was in our freezer. Well, my husband thought we needed a frame for the chalkboard, and when I was going through our things, I found an old mirror from a dresser that had been broken, and I took that apart and we made it into a frame, and now we have a chalkboard right above our freezer so that we can keep track of what is in it. I also compost my eggshells and my coffee grounds into my garden, into my flowers, and it has made my irises grow bigger than ever. You may have saw one of my YouTube shorts on that, but huge difference by putting those things back into the soil to help make it more fertile. And since we live on a farm and our water is very hard, we save our water jugs and we refill them. And we refill them at the organic food store. We go to natural grocers and they are actually cheaper to refill our water there than Walmart. And I have to admit, we used to buy bottled water and we went through a lot of it. And there's just no reason for that. We have jugs we can refill. We keep about 10 or 12 of them filled at any given time. And I always keep my water cup in my car. So we have those transportable water containers that we can use. And we just use these now instead of using the bottles of water. So much less trash and recycling, so much less stuff to deal with to clutter our home. I have not bought any soap in a year. No soap to wash ourselves in the shower. I am using all of my little hotel soaps that I have saved over my lifetime. Why, I don't know, but I have all of these little hotel soaps. So we haven't bought any soap in a year. We are using up what we have. We've gone back to powdered detergent in our laundry, which I've told you about, but we used to buy paper plates, especially when the kids were younger. There were so many kids and we were so busy with activities that we just used paper plates. There just wasn't time, it felt like, to do dishes. We don't buy paper plates anymore. We haven't bought any in over 2 years unless we go camping. And even then we have washable plates that we take with us that we use. So no paper napkins, no paper towels, and no paper plates. We have really cut back on all of that disposable stuff that just takes up our budget when we're shopping for food. So that was all number one, just getting creative with things we already have and ways to reuse things we already have rather than buying more. The second tip is to change our vocabulary. We have changed our vocabulary. There's many things that are not even in our vocabulary because we live in the country. We don't have Uber Eats in our vocabulary. We don't have HelloFresh in our vocabulary. We don't have retail therapy in our vocabulary, and we don't have Amazon in our vocabulary. You would think with us living in the country that we would utilize Amazon a lot, but I am a bargain shopper, and I feel like when I go in the stores and I can shop for bargains that I get better deals. So the only time that I get anything from Amazon is when I can't find it somewhere else at a better deal. So once in a great while we will get something, and I will have to alert my husband, hey, we're actually going to get a package, so watch for that, because we rarely get packages out here. The delivery is not fast. It's just not worth the trouble. So the only time we do that is if I cannot find it somewhere else at a better deal. And then number 3, we do not use our credit card as an emergency backup. We used to do that. We used to think of our emergency fund as our credit card. We used to think, hey, if we cannot afford it, we put it on the credit card. But I have realized that that is not a good philosophy. That's not a good plan to go by. It takes forever to pay that off when you have an emergency, so you are better off just preparing for that emergency and saving the money back. This month we had a blowout month. We had to have a plumber here to have things repaired. We had to have a plumber last month to have things repaired. I had to buy new tires for my car. We just had a lot of crazy one-time expenses, but I had saved up for those and I was able to pay those in full so that we didn't have to use our credit card as an emergency fund. The next tip that we have done during the recession and during inflation is we have changed the way we shop. I used to get gas and grab a drink inside for the ride home because it would be about an hour. I used to grab a drink as I went through the grocery store checkout because I was going to go home and it was going to be about an hour. But I don't grab those convenience store and grocery store drinks anymore. I keep a drink cup in my car. I carry my own drinks with me, and I just do not do that anymore. And then I look back at that and I think, man, how many times did I spend like an extra $2 on a drink? Like every time I got gas, every time I went to the grocery store. That's a lot of $2, and those added up over time, I'm sure, in a huge way. But I just don't think like that anymore. So that's one of the things that I have changed. I also used to only get 2 haircuts a year. I think I've only had 1 haircut in about the last year now. So I've probably cut that in half. I don't buy a lot of clothes anymore. This decluttering thing has made me realize that I just do not need to buy anything like that. I have too much the way it is. So the recession and the inflation has been a good thing for me because it's really opened my eyes into ways that I probably spent money I should not have spent. And I really look for specials and sales, and that's how I shop now. I just recently went to the store and our freezer was already pretty darn full, but I found some really good deals, so I picked them up anyway to finish filling up our freezer. And so I'm going to show you some of the things I picked up next. So here is some of the food haul things that I got today. I was able to get boneless chicken breast for $1.99 a pound. Around here, that's about as good as you can do. I was able to get marked down boneless pork chops for $5.40, which that still made them $4.22 a pound. But like I said, around here, it's kind of tough to get some of this marked down. I was able to get some hamburger patties, $6.59. These are normally $10, which I don't pay $1 a patty ever. But when you break it down by the poundage, and this is 2 pounds, 3.2 ounces, it makes it more affordable to buy it this way. I was able to get a bunch of shredded turkey for $2.29. I know it's only 8 ounces, but deli turkey and deli meat in general has just skyrocketed. And then I was able to get some beef tips for $6.17. That made them $5.51 a pound, which again, beef tips have been crazy expensive too. And then my fun find today was these little clearance dial concentrated foaming hand wash singles. I got them for $1.14. They have packets in there that you just put into your bottles and then add water and then shake, and then you have hand soap. So I was really excited to get that. It makes 2 full-size bottles. So that made me be able to get 6 bottles of hand soap, about 55 cents each. I thought that was pretty great. So those are some of my hauls from today. And we always did buy things used, but now we also look for things that are refurbished, electronic things that are refurbished, like phones. My dehumidifier was refurbished. We also have always bought our washing machines and dryers used 98% of the time. And something like that will last a really long time. So to me, it just seems silly to spend a lot of money for something that will last a long time or spend less money for something that will last just as long. So my washers and dryers, as a rule, are always used. There are places that refurbish them and then resell them, and that's where we usually go. Maybe there's some place like that around you as well, that people that will fix those and resell them. So Darren Hardy wrote a book called The Compound Effect. And I heard about this the other day, and it really struck me close to my heart, because these are the things that I've been saying all along, but he actually put it in a book and put it into a little formula. So see if you recognize this. Small, smart choices plus consistency plus time equals radical differences. Now, he made that sound very elegant, but that's the things we talk about on this channel. How those little small things, like all of those $2 drinks I was getting at the grocery store and the convenience store, added up. And over time, with me being consistent, it made a radical change. Now I look back and cannot believe that I did that I wasted money like that I didn't see that I was wasting money like that. And when you take that formula, it builds momentum. And that's what we're doing here on this channel, is we are encouraging each other, we are sharing tips and ideas, and we are building momentum towards our frugal goals. So if this has been helpful to you today, I hope that you will stay and subscribe. I really appreciate you being here, and thank you so much, and give me a thumbs up if it did, and I hope to see you in the next video.